Well, feels very weird, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's been like 6 weeks since we last recorded.
At least, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and we missed the whole month, which is not something we like to do, but there's been a lot going on, isn't there?
It's weird because we knew it was coming and then just didn't plan for it.
Yeah.
Well, we did plan for it,
Yeah.
but then other things happened, didn't they?
Yeah, there are a few messages that were going back and forth, like, we should get this done before this happens, we should get this done before this happens, and then everything sort of happened at once.
Very much so, yeah.
And the first of those is that I had a baby.
Yay! Yes, you spoke about it a little bit on the pod, haven't you? Obviously, when we had Katie's episode,
Yeah.
you announced then, obviously, that Kate was expecting, but Baby Spice is actually here.
Baby Spice is here, and 3 weeks early.
Yes.
So yeah, pretty crazy birth experience with, I won't go too much detail, but with preeclampsia and having an emergency C-section and all that kind of stuff. And very surprised, like a big surprise as well. Because
they're being 3 weeks early as well, yeah.
Yeah, I'd literally just got back from Spain, destination wedding, which we'll talk about later. And then I'd just shot a wedding with you as well. And I hadn't even backed it up yet before. Like, we woke up at like 2 a.m. and Kate was like, I'm in pain, something is wrong.
Is Kate a robot?
Ouch. And then we got to hospital, and 5 hours later, the nurse or the midwife came in and said, I don't know how you thought today was going to go, but you're walking out of the hospital with a baby.
Yeah.
So that happened, and obviously from then onwards, it's just been a little bit chaotic. You went on a holiday after that, so...
in terms of chronology, I think, so again, we're going to talk about the wedding that we did together and the destination later, but you did that on the weekend, didn't you? We shot then a midweek wedding together, I think on a Wednesday, and whilst we were at dinner at that wedding, we booked in a podcast recording session for the following Wednesday, didn't we? So we were like, we're going to do a recording that week, that will do 2 episodes, that will they'll be released like on your holiday, the day that you fly, the day that you get back, and then it will seamlessly go through. By the time that we record after that, the baby, like even if it's like remotely on time, will be here. Like, it'll be a couple of weeks old. It'll all be fine. Yeah. We thought we had it all covered, and then literally, I hugged you, left you goodbye at that wedding. 2 days later, you became a dad. Yeah. And then I think before you even told me you'd had a baby, the first message that came was, "So I guess podcast recording isn't happening now." And then the picture, obviously, of the beautiful baby arrived. So and then obviously that happened. Then I went on holiday, and I think that pretty much explains why there's been a gap. Yeah, definitely. But I will say though that for some the artwork that I made to go up on Instagram, which you haven't seen, saying sorry there's no episode this week, I made that at the airport.
Did you?
Oh, in the Premier Inn, actually, in the morning. That's another good old Canva. So, managed to dive through an old film scan from recording and put it all together, and pretty proud of that. And it was literally done on my phone in the morning of a travel lodge. I was pretty impressed with that one. So if you haven't seen that one, go check it out. But now there's new episodes. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And it's been 5 and a bit weeks since that now. So I haven't put it on socials yet in terms of the business, because I sort of announced it on my personal Instagram and Facebook and that kind of thing. And obviously, like, you get inundated with messages and comments and that kind of thing. And at the moment, we're like muddling through and just like getting used to routine and being parents and that kind of thing. And like, there's this thing in like parenthood, which we've been told called toxic positivity, and it's that whole like, you're knackered and you're like posting, oh, look at our amazing baby, and everyone's going, you must be so overjoyed, and in this like bubble and everything, and you're like, no, I'm just tired, changing nappies and literally like listening to a crying baby. And I know like that, like, things are smiles are starting to appear and things like that, but I don't like, I've already had all that from my personal side as well, and I'll I'm announcing it here, and I'll put it on my Instagram eventually. But at the moment, we're just still finding our feet, I think, a few weeks in.
Yeah, and also I think, like you said, and we spoke a little bit often. I'm sure that there's some of you will message, and is a really lovely thing to do. And we're not saying don't be happy for Chris, but I think also, like we said, it's overwhelming. Like you said, between like nappies and sleep and the rest of it, the time at your desk to do work stuff is pretty limited already, considering the size of your editing pile. And as lovely as it would be to open your inbox to like 50 messages from previous couples, other suppliers going, oh, congratulations, mate. That's a chunk of admin in itself, isn't it? Yeah. And like you say, and putting on that kind of brave face on 2 hours sleep to reply to 50 people going, cheers, mate. Oh, this and that. It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, kind of like even the physical time that it takes as well as the mental toll of that, I can really see from someone that doesn't have a baby yet as to why it's easier to just go, I've got my baby, it's in my hands. I don't physically need to tell these people. Yeah. The people that are waiting on edits know, because I've told them, and everything else doesn't particularly matter.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. And I had to like try and source somebody to film a wedding for me, because it was 2 days before I had a wedding to film. So she was born on the 3rd and I had a wedding on the 5th. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to make this because Kate's still in hospital and that kind of thing. So I had to source that. And so there are a lot of people that already know. And obviously I missed out on Coda and that kind of thing because of it. So yeah, a lot of people already know, but it's one of those things that I'm like, I don't want to make a big announcement of it quite yet, but I will,
in time, yeah.
In time.
She's not going anywhere.
Yeah, she's not rolling off quite yet.
That's it. So again, I'm sure there'll be plenty of time for all of that. And I guess as well, kind of talk about that wedding schedule. I know that when we had the episode with Katie as well, and we dived into that with her, didn't we? That episode when she obviously was the one carrying the child and obviously trying to figure out like second shooters and plans and stuff. I know that there was obviously you had those kind of 3 weddings really close together, didn't you? So it would have been the destination towards the end of September, the one with me on the 1st. That one that you had would have been like, what, the 6th?
5th.
Yeah. 5th. Yeah. And then obviously, but Kate wasn't due to the 20th. So to go, that's fine, that's 3 weeks before, and then to have nothing now till some late December, you had kind of planned that, it wasn't just kind of blind optimism, was it? There was kind of method there that you had this period of time that you had kind of earmarked out away from shooting. It was just the fact that they came early.
Yeah, thinking first baby 3 weeks early.
Yeah.
Not huge likelihood of that happening. But yeah, so the Spain one was risky, and I'll admit that. And their parents are probably looking at me like, "Wait, you went to Spain like a month before your baby is due?" But it was already booked in; they'd already paid, and I wasn't about to refund the amount of money they paid me.
Yeah, especially when some of it's tied up in flights and stuff that you couldn't just go, "Oh, I'm sending someone else," and you change the name and stuff.
Exactly.
It's much more complicated than that, isn't it?
And so obviously it turned out all right, but it was a case of like, we can't afford to lose this amount of money. You go anyway, and hopefully you don't miss out on the birth. Then there was Katie and Tom's that we did together. That I had a backup. Josh sort of offered to come and film it if things happened on that day, but luckily they didn't, and we filmed that and it was all good.
And again, that was like half an hour from home.
Yeah. But then the one on the 5th of October, that I admit I was a little bit nonchalant about, because I got a second shooter who's Tessa, who ended up filming anyway, but I had never managed to find an associate. I sort of asked the people who I'd normally ask, and nobody could make it, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to risk it then.
So you did the old like, la la la, it'll be fine.
It'll be absolutely fine. It's 3 weeks before due date.
Until it wasn't fine.
So I kind of like dug myself in my own grave there, but I kind of, I was like, you know what, I've struggled to find an associate. No one who would normally do it for me can do it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to fingers crossed and hope it's all okay. Obviously it wasn't. So I did ask around. And luckily Bronte from Tin Box Memories, who a lot of people listening to this will know, offered to step in and be associate shooter, which was lovely of her. So Bronte and Tessa from
What team?
by Tessa ended up filming. Yeah, absolutely great team. And the footage is obviously amazing. But shout out to Bronte for covering so last minute, and for Rue as well for reaching out to people for me. Always count on Rue for these things. But yeah, reaching out to people for me and eventually finding me someone who, obviously, for someone who was sat in the hospital waiting to go into theatre, trying to think about the fact I'm having a baby today, but also think about the fact that someone is not going to have their wedding filmed at this point. It was quite a stressful couple of hours. And,
I can imagine, And even again, I think it's worth saying, like, we're incredibly fortunate, the fact that we have this podcast, and we have, had guests such as Adam, that we'll talk about later, who obviously went out to Spain with you to second shoot that wedding. You've been able to reach out to Rue, who obviously runs Coda, so a network of videographers there. And even just the people that we've met and chat to, you guys that listen, to have a network of that. Well, like, we do have people around us at kind of varying degrees of kind of close circles. But it's still, when you're looking at Saturdays in fairly kind of popular times of the year, even the best will in the world, there's still only kind of pools of people that are available, aren't there?
I was surprised. I thought October 5th, like Saturday in October, would be okay. But it's actually, everyone was booked on that. Oh no, sorry, Sunday. It was a Sunday in October.
A Sunday, it's not even Saturday,
but apparently it's a popular date. So, and obviously people got things going on, and it was quite last minute when I started asking around other people. But yeah, it worked itself out, and had to spend a bit of extra money on extra shooters. But at the end of the day, they got their wedding filmed. It was a wedding that I wanted to shoot because it was at Hedser, which is quite a nice venue, and kind of wanted to.
Yeah, I know that's one of the ones that's been kind of on your vision board for a while, hasn't it? So when the booking came in, I know that you were pleased that you had that in. So but I got the footage. It all looks great. So it kind of worked out in the end. And I kind of manifested this whole like autumn winter baby thing, so I didn't have to miss out on too many weddings and income and that kind of thing. Now I'm not sure if it's the best idea, because now we've got a winter baby and it's
peeing down with rain and there's nothing we can do. But at the same time, like I only missed out on one wedding, so that ended up being quite a big positive.
And also, I don't think there is like a perfect scenario, is there? Like,
No,
as much as
you
it'd be
build up
lovely
your
to
head.
have a summer baby arrive, so you can go and like wander the pram along the beach and like you're out in summer and then that. But then when you're trying to get a baby to sleep and then daylight's pouring in because it's still light, or you're still realistically every Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, if you've had triples like you had this July, you know, are kind of waving off to wife and baby on a Thursday night, going, "Oh, see you Monday."
Back on Monday,
Like, and that comes with its own levels, doesn't it, of stress? So I think the fact that you are sat here, you look, you know, I think anyone that's watching on YouTube will say that you probably don't look as tired as I thought you were when we should have been, and when you turned up at my house this morning.
I'm glad you said that.
And
People keep saying you look really tired.
and you're laughing and smiling. I think the fact that you've come this far and you're doing that shows that you are probably doing far better than you're giving yourself credit for. So
yeah, a lot of people say that, and you know, she's happy and healthy, so that's
the main thing.
the main thing.
Yeah, that's it. If you're keeping her alive and you're keeping yourself alive, you are winning, my friend.
Yeah, exactly at this point. And luckily, like, it is just the editing that I've got to do now. So until December, I've got a couple of weddings at the end of December, but it's mainly cracking on with the edits. And obviously, you've probably had like the best part of 4 weeks off. I only planned on having 2 weeks off, but because of the complications of the recovery from the C-section that Kate's having to do, and just trying to get back into a routine when the workplace is next door. Like, I feel like this is the first time I've been envious of people who get 2 weeks paternity leave and go back to work, and you kind of have to have that separation. Whereas I'm next door and you hear the crying, or there's something, you know, that Kate needs to do, but the baby needs feeding. And there's always that element of, am I a dad right now, or am I a business person right now? And I guess mums will feel this quite a lot as well, probably more so. But it's taken a while to get that transition of, okay, I'm in the office, close the door, I'm a business person, open the door at lunchtime, I can be a dad for a couple of hours or whatever. So it's you know, the 4 weeks has put me back quite a lot on editing.
I can imagine, especially when some of you other day, well, you know, from our catch-ups previously, how tightly packed through the summer you were shooting. So it wasn't one triple weekend, there was 2 or 3 in there, wasn't it? And a couple of doubles. So I know I found that obviously having, you know, when you shoot weddings close together, that if you don't start one till it's near deadline, then you got, oh crap, the one after that's only 2 days behind it as well.
Because it's
things stack up. It is difficult.
Yeah. So I'm getting through it a little bit now, but there are, you know, I have had messages despite putting it on the tracker saying I've had a baby, and, you know, I've taken the estimated wait time off just because I'm not sure what's happening at the moment and that kind of thing. I'm still having messages like, can you tell us when our film is going to be there? Which is surprising. I never thought it would get that kind of reaction. No,
I always like to think that, you know, because you do give so much of yourself, you know, people knew it was coming or whatever, that people would always be understanding.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then it's hard to kind of muse about the reasons for that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've spoke at length, and I don't want to kind of keep going back and giving them even more hate than they deserve. But I do wonder now that when you've got content creators, and maybe some of those weddings had content creators at them, their photos have been delivered a while ago, probably. Their content got delivered the next day. If people are kind of there doing their kind of tidying their ends up from their wedding, going, well, what's left outstanding? And you're kind of the last thing to receive back now. Yeah, I think it can, if they received their content, if you like, you know, 2 months ago, that could make it feel alone, can't it? That they've waited a long time when reality they haven't. Yeah. So I wonder if some of it is like societal kind of problems, even though how much you kind of explain things to people, there's always going to be that. And then I think some people are just impatient, I think.
Yeah, I shot a wedding towards the end of September and never even got around to doing their highlights. And I know they've had their full gallery back from their photographer, and I've not even started on their edit. So it's like, you can kind of understand it, but I am quite upfront with the tracker and things like that. Yeah. I think there's a few different things. One is, we spoke about this off pod, but my target client doesn't have children, so they probably wouldn't understand what it's like anyway.
Or be less sympathetic, maybe. I think if you have a couple with young children, and they're kind of they are much more kind of family or kid orientated, they will fully appreciate how draining it is to have. But if you've not been in that situation yourself, I think maybe you're less sympathetic or less understanding of the amount of time that kids or babies take.
Exactly
that's fair to say.
And also, it's coming up to Christmas. It's normally a time, sort of end of November, beginning of December, where people will start going, will it be before Christmas? And I don't really like that deadline, because I never use it. I try not to use it as a deadline, and I try and enjoy the festive period as much as you can with a massive backlog. But it is, understandable, I guess, that people are starting to visit family and things like that. And
I think I've just felt that switch though, like coming back from holiday, like when I left, it was spooky season and it was Halloween everywhere. And I feel now that I've come back and Christmas is everywhere. I can't escape it. Like, I know Christmas arrives in Disney early anyway, but even coming back here now, I feel like the ads on my phone are full of Christmas stuff. Like it's very much like, oh, it's in the shops already. And I'm like, it's not even December yet. And I feel like that kind of pressure is there. And like you say, naturally, whether I don't kind of particularly use Christmas as like a hard deadline for stuff, because if I'm shooting a wedding in December, it is maybe difficult to ever think they'll get that back before Christmas. But I think with kind of particularly like New Year and new beginnings and that, people naturally kind of do like things kind of tidied up, don't they? Or that kind of, it's that natural conclusion to the year. And I think they kind of feel like,
we haven't got our film this year. So
but it's like, the thing is that someone could message you on like the 2nd of January and go, well, you shot my wedding last year and I still haven't got my film. And it sounds so dramatic, but it's literally like, because it's only been 2 weeks ago still, but it's still like, oh, you've made me wait since last year for my film. Like it feels worse, doesn't it? But
it's mad how, like, and I know, again, I've heard other parents say this, and we had obviously Katie on the pod who said this as well, like the amount you get done now in a shorter space of time and on less sleep. Like if you told me last year when I was child, or even early this year when I was child free, that you'll be getting 3 hours sleep, getting up, cracking on with a day of editing and probably finish a full film in a day and not think about it too much, I'd be like, nah, I care about my craft way too much for that. But now, like, I feel like because I'm very much having to hone into the zone in a way, I guess I'm probably getting stuff done a bit quicker now than I probably would if, when it comes to winter, normally I'm like, right, okay, I'm locked in anyway. Yeah. So, maybe I'll go for a walk in the morning, go to paddle or something and have a bit of a slower way of life.
Yeah, those things are like, oh, I'll do this now. So when I get to my office, I am in the zone. But you probably still stick YouTube on in the background while you're doing it. Or if your phone goes off, you probably still look at it. Where now, if this film has to be finished, I've got 3 hours between that baby waking up and wanting feeding and doing this. Yeah. Like that zone's probably even more. Like it's literally razor phone. Like there's no distraction elsewhere at all. Yeah. But like you said, that is nice now, isn't it? So that even though you have got edits to do, you've only pretty much got 2 weddings left of the year to shoot.
Yes.
Which are very much like right up towards Christmas. So
end of December, 23rd and New Year's Eve as well. So
you can make a bit of a dent in that pile before you add a bit more on the top of it.
Yeah, which is nice because obviously, like, you know what it's like in the summer, where you're just shooting and you're like, it just goes in the pile and gets forgotten about for a little bit. And sometimes I'm looking at September now and I'm like, that was all a blur. Yeah. It just feels like I need to get to those now. So
I must admit though, like, I found this year, and I know that it's something that I've spoken about a little bit on here, is that this is the quietest year that I've ever had in weddings. Yeah, I've got 2 left to shoot. Much the same. I'm shooting one this Saturday, coming, and then I've got one in early December, and that is me done for the year then. And that I will finish the year on, I think 29 or 30 weddings. Where the last 2 years I've done 35 and 36, and obviously higher numbers the years before that coming out of COVID, and even just losing those sort of 4 or 5 weddings, I've definitely felt the money not having that that chunk of change from that. Yeah. But I think coming out of the end of the summer, like around that bank holiday period, sort of when I shoot the festival, that's normally when I'm at like peak editing pile, peak stress. I think this year my edit pile only got to like 6 or 7, where other years it's easily been 10 or 12. Yeah. And so to like when I went away on holiday, I was at a point where it was down to like 4. Yeah. And now it's kind of, I do feel that it still got bad, and I definitely had that real grind of like, I need to get stuff done before I go away. And when I came back, I was very much like, there's stuff waiting for me. I think I can sit here and say it never got as kind of like draining or like anxiety inducing as it has been the last couple of years. So it's quite nice to know that although I have taken on slightly less, there has been a kind of a mental payoff for that, and so that I have been kind of holding my own steadily throughout the year. And I know obviously I started a lot later, so like kind of my first wedding was March, but it was like 1 in March, 2 in April. So by the time I got to May, even my pile, I was kind of keeping on top of it, like 1 over 1. But I think definitely like kind of this year, I always thought that would be an experiment. I'll walk the walk on it, I'll do less and see how I actually feel about it. And although that I definitely would like that extra money, I'm already looking to next year going, okay, maybe that 30 is my number now to stop the edit style really, the edit pile really peaking.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to like going into detail of that when we do we'll probably do a year in review again, like we normally do.
Yeah, we've done the last 2 years, haven't we? Yeah, so I think it'll be the third one. Yeah.
And I remember like last year you saying that you were probably going to have a bit of a quieter year and try and be more mindful about the jobs that you take and things like that, because there's one like it's that balance, isn't it? And sometimes again, it might change now. I've got children and things like that, but sometimes I see things as like a TikTok years as TikTok. Like 1 year you do everything, like take as many weddings as you can, like do as much work as you can, and next year is a bit more of a chill year to recover from it. Like I try and see things in that way a little bit, because it then it gives you that balance.
But also, say your life changes at a certain time, doesn't it? And what's good for you 1 year might not be good the next year. And when we book a year in advance, you kind of need to preempt what that year is going to be whilst you're booking it, rather than when you're doing it. And I think I always said it, and I've said this kind of multiple times when we've had those discussions on pod, is that in those catch-up years, I had to do too much and feel that burnout to kind of caution myself as to go, do not get to this place again.
Yeah.
And it's still so easy when inquiries do come in and you go, oh, that's really nice, I'd like to do that you still kind of end up with a few more. And definitely, I kind of looked at my turnover this year, and I've definitely seen that dip and gone, okay, I haven't starved. I've bought less kit this year because maybe I've had to, or I bought the stuff I needed to in the year that I was busier and stuff. But then I'm sort of thinking, well, okay, I'd like to kind of get back to like my balance would like to be kind of where it was.
Yeah.
So the prices do have to go up, and then I think, well, I haven't raised my prices and kept them up for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And so I think I can make that decision going into next year with a more practical mind, rather than, well, I'm booking more, and so I should be putting my prices up. It's no, they need to go up in order to sustain the number of weddings that I want to shoot, with still keeping the lifestyle that I want. Yeah. And I feel like I'm making that much more as a business decision now, rather than kind of like a status position.
Just because it's like, just because you got the bookings and you want to raise the prices.
And I'd be interested to see, and that's kind of the next step of the journey, is to how that sticks with the pricing, or also how I feel about it in terms of selling on that price, knowing that that's what I need to do that, rather than being, oh, well, I probably could still get away with charging a bit less. I just want to charge more because I think I'm worth it. Yeah. Like now it's like, no, that's the new line.
Yeah.
Whether it will pay off, I don't know.
It's difficult at this point, isn't it? And we'll talk about it in probably the trends episode, which we're going to release in a couple of weeks. Yes. But it's difficult at the moment to raise your prices in a world of very very uncertain times.
Yeah. Exactly. And I feel that in terms of bookings and that kind of chat around that, this has been a year of uncertainty for a lot of wedding suppliers, I think, and even still continuing to kind of feel that now as people look into kind of, next year and what they've got booked in. So, but I think that's definitely something to say. We're going to do our next episode that will come out in a couple of weeks' time will be our predictions for 2026 in kind of, like trends visually, as well as kind of business trends and kind of just weddings in general trends, I think. Yeah,
that's really interesting. I'm looking forward to that one. But so you've been on holiday.
I have been on holiday, yes. So it was really odd as well, because obviously it was almost, I think on my holiday I went back to DisneyWorld, kind of eclipsed when we were there last year. So it was kind of really odd to go, and then like certain days towards the second week of the holiday I was getting like memories pop up on Instagram of like, oh, this is what I did when I was here, like with you and Kate last year. And that was kind of really fun.
They were popping up for us, and me and Kate were just sat there baby in hand like, oh,
I'm sorry, I probably didn't help with that either when you knew that we were back there as well.
So we were asking to send us photos, and it was nice to get them.
And so it was like, oh, I remember when we were here and stuff. So but this time I went back, so it was me and my wife, and we went with her sister and husband and then their 3 kids. So we did that family dynamic as a 7 3 years ago. We went to Florida with them like that, and then have done it again this year. And it was really nice. I think I kind of wrote in my notes, it's always different because you're going kind of with, although they're teenagers now and like kind of more grown up kids, they're not like babies anymore. Yeah. But it's still very much kind of that like kid energy, or because we've been to Disney so much and they've maybe been slightly less, there's still that element of like, let's get up in the morning, there's these things we want to do.
Yeah, there's a list of things.
Look, the last 2 years before that, obviously we had the week's cruise on the end of our trip, and then the year before that we went on a Caribbean cruise, where I've always got to the end of the year and gone, I want a relaxing holiday.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really that, because it was very much like kind of get up in the morning, go to a theme park.
Schedule.
We might pop back for an hour in the afternoon to lay by the pool because it was hot, but you were back out in the evening again.
Yeah.
But I think because of the things that I said about having a quieter year and stuff, I think I was in less need of like a relaxing holiday.
Yeah.
Like if I'd have been as kind of burnt out and tired as I had been from the last couple of years going into that, I think I'd have come back feeling even more exhausted.
Yeah.
Where it was nice that I went away, I enjoyed the break, but at the same time, I still think like maybe a couple more days by the pool might have been quite nice. But you see Disney differently, don't you, when you go with other people, or you see kind of through kids' eyes. And like my youngest niece, Aurora, she is 8 now, so she was 5 when we went last time. And there was things that we definitely took her on last time that she was either frightened of and now isn't, or was like, I don't remember this. Doing it, and she doesn't remember. Yeah. And so it's almost quite nice that although it's not the first time, you're almost seeing it through them the first time, and that kind of reinvigorates your excitement of it, I think, because you kind of see it differently.
Yeah, definitely. It's the same when we kind of went with you guys, wasn't it? I mean, the first time we went is when we accidentally booked the trip, and we were going at the same time, didn't we?
Yeah, we didn't know at the time. Yeah,
and the times where it was me and Kate on our own, like as much as we enjoyed it, because we didn't know the lay of the land, we much enjoyed spending it with you guys because one, you were so into it anyway, and you'd been like a couple of times before and that kind of thing, but also like you could just tell us straight away the best places to go and the best things to do and that kind of thing, and we sort of got that mastery pretty early.
Yeah, I feel like you don't end up making obviously a mistake. You find you don't waste your time doing things. And that wasn't worth it.
Yeah,
because people don't. Yeah, so there was an element of that to it, I think, as well. And even like with kind of going with like my sister and brother-in-law, because they've been a couple of times now. It was very much, well, I don't really want to do that again. So there was kind of it was like kind of a halfway house between still wanting to do a lot of stuff that maybe had been new since they went 3 years ago, but wasn't new for us. So seeing, I can't wait to show you this.
Yeah.
So it was a really nice balance. And I think, and again, I know that there's people on here that kind of, which are interested in kind of our holiday cameras, and we talk about that as well. Yeah. I took the Leica with me, and I took one photo on it the entire time we were there.
I feel like I would have taken more just to say I've taken more than one.
I took one photo, and literally that was in the morning. And I think the only time that I did that is because I took some film with me. So I took my little Olympus camera and I shot 4 rolls of film while I was there. I only took 5 rolls with me, and it was a day in the end where I was like, I don't think I'm going to finish the roll, or I'm going to be just taking the same photo I've taken before. I'll take the Leica with me. I literally took one photo on it.
Yeah.
So that's set me kind of really thinking now, because I think this year definitely for me has been a year where I've got back into film. I've enjoyed film, and if I went somewhere new, I would feel the same about it, because it's much more free to explore with a digital camera or your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
But to go back somewhere that I know so well, and I've taken so many photos in, to go, to have that on film would be really nice. Or you kind of, I kind of knew the things I wanted to take on the film camera before I took it. So maybe that was why I ended up shooting more film, and those negs are going to arrive back from the lab at the end of this week, and I'm super excited to see them.
You've been there enough now that you could probably close your eyes right now and visualize exact shots that you
and kind of, and so I definitely went into it with the intention of, I really want these on film. But so whether when we go on like a different holiday or somewhere new, I'll still end up shooting as much film as I did.
I'd say you
then, but I think I will. I think I will. Yeah. Or that slower process of it, or rather than just kind of spending a lot more time looking and going, that's a photo, rather than it's too easy just to hold a camera up and go, I'll take loads because I've never been here before and I'll figure it out later. I think the intentionality with the film, even more so, was
very different if you're going somewhere for the first time and you're just walking through and you've got to take a quick photo.
Or you're somewhere for like, you go to like a tourist stop and you're there for like a matter of minutes, or you're going to different places each day. Well, when you've got 4 parks and you can visit them as many times as you want over the course of the 2 weeks. There was like, say, a day when I was like, I'm going to take my film camera today. I spent half a day photographing Epcot. And then once I've got the nice pictures that I wanted, I didn't feel the need to then just keep going and taking it with me and shooting rolls and rolls and rolls every day.
Yeah. And I think your fridge is definitely a testament to how much you've been enjoying.
I got shamed by my wife the other day. So I bought, there was a couple of kind of good deals on Kodak before I went away. So the door in like the inside of our fridge now, there is a kind of a shelf in there. And there's probably about 20 rolls of medium format and about 20 or 30 rolls of 35 millimeters. It takes up a chunk of our fridge now, which she seems less happy about than me. Like for me, it's a sign of a well-stocked fridge, but maybe not so much. It's not so much nourishing kind of food-wise, but it means that I've got a good stock of film for over the winter for sure.
You'll have a fridge in your office soon.
It's the dream. Like if anyone's got one, if anyone's got like a vintage Kodak fridge or like a film fridge from like an old camera shop and they want to sell it to me, slide into my DMs, because that's something that I would very much love. I would like a dedicated, like an actual film fridge that's come from a film shop. Or anyone knows of someone that's got one. That's something I'm going to put out. I would like a film fridge for my office. But I don't just want like a Coca-Cola fridge. I want like a film fridge. It's got to be like a Kodak one or a Fuji one, like an actual film fridge.
That's how much I know about film. I didn't realise that was a thing. Like
so a lot of time when you go into shops that sell film, they'll have like a little fridge with all their film lined up in it and stuff. So there obviously are ones out there from other places.
But you said you did put some of it, or the stuff you took in Disney, through a scanner, right?
Yes, this is the only thing that I'm really worried about. So again, because it's my first time that I've travelled with film, I'd read all the stuff, I'd done all the other things. People are like, no, take it out, ask for a hand check. Put it in the little like baggie and stuff. And so I did that. So I had all my rolls in like a little tin, like a little carton all lined up. I'd taken them all out like the plastic canisters. So I was like, as soon as I get to the scanner, I'll do it. And then I got to Gatwick, and again, because we were trying to wrangle kids and like the rest of it, I was so like, and also we got to the new scanners where they were like, oh, you don't have to take anything out. So I didn't have to worry about trying to like take my laptop out or anything else. I was like, this is brilliant. Dump my bag in.
No tech
it
out,
wasn't until it disappeared through the little stripy gun. I was like, oh crap, my film's in there. I was like, oh no. I was like, it's gone now. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but on the way back from Tampa Airport, I asked for a hand check.
Yeah.
And I know that some people have said in Europe particularly, they've had issues with people asking for hand checks, or they won't hand check film, which is only over a certain speed. The lady that I had was absolutely lovely. I got my little tin out and was like, can you hand check this? It's camera film. And she was like, yeah, of course. And she took it through for me. She opened it up, looked through them all. I was like, there are some shot rolls in there, so don't like open them.
Yeah.
And she was really handy, like run a little swab over it and was like, yep, brilliant, and handed it back. So that was a really positive experience. And I think, again, it's just you learn the lesson. I'm hoping that the beefy scanner at Gatwick hasn't fogged the film before I even shot it. And I'll find out obviously when it comes back at the end of the week. But
that's something they're going to get used to doing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess for me, it's part of a learning curve as well of travelling with film as I go on holiday.
Yeah.
And also a weird thought that I had whilst after it happened is that if anybody that's cruised, obviously when you go on and off of the boat, don't you? At stops, they normally make you put your bag through a scanner. So am I going to have like the effort of having to get do a hand check every time I leave the ship? Might take the shine off of shooting film if we went somewhere on a boat.
Yeah.
But who knows? But yeah, I did. I shot the film, and again, I'll post those on my personal page, and I'll link them into the Capture Co stories. So if you want to see the film that I shot in Disney, I'll link it so people can see. If it comes out because of the scanner. But
maybe I'm just like too much in this bubble, but I do feel like film is becoming such a thing that might be just something that's normal at airports now. Like they just.
I think it's probably Also, because I think even beyond professional use, obviously in our industry, I think it's becoming a real thing, isn't it? That people are very much. It seems to be a thing that is the kind of the most popular thing to offer at the moment. But also as well, again, I see much like I've had chats with new clients that are very are talking to you, going, I love that you shoot film, or we want to add film in, or even just kind of like general people are not taking their phone out. They are buying like a little point and shoot camera to take on their holidays or their nights out and stuff again. So. Yeah. Definitely, it wouldn't surprise me if it is something which they are being asked more.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah.
Interestingly, that on a side topic, it's not in our notes. How are you doing with like photos and baby?
So I have taken a lot of photos on the Fuji, but at the moment I don't really know what to take photos of. I know it sounds really weird, but like she just lays and
no, but that's what I mean. But I was just really curious because obviously, as people that document for a living and like take photos, and we've spoken loads about kind of like personal work away from work and how you feel about picking up a camera when you're not at work and stuff like that. I was just really curious to know which kind of camp you fell into, whether you've just been too much focused on keeping her alive that you haven't felt the urge to pick the camera up.
So for the first couple of weeks, I probably took some photos of little different events like first bath and things like that, wrapped in a towel and things. And then each week we do like a week milestone photo, which I do from the top, like a little mat that says how many weeks old she is. And then I'll take a couple of photos of her then as well. Yeah. When we've had like parents around and things like that, I'll get the Fuji out specifically for that because I'm like.
So it is. It's nice. So some ways you do feel that when you rebought the Fuji for the third time, that it was very much like, okay, like this is very much like it's not a camera that comes to weddings, and it's nice to see that it has become your like family camera now as well.
Exactly. So even though people come around and stuff like that and hold the baby, and I've got a photo of my mum with the baby and Kate's dad and my dad and things like that, and I'll get the Fuji out specifically for that, and it's stuff I could do on my phone, but I feel so much like it feels like an event if I'm like this is a big deal in my life. My dad just picked up my baby for the first time, and I feel like I can get the camera out for that. When we're out and about, I'm struggling because again, like she just lays down and is mostly asleep when we're out and about. So I haven't really got any photos apart from one time we went to a park and it was like quite a nice like autumn, like low sun vibes, and we kind of got her out of the pram and took some photos with her, but even then she was just like laying just like zombied out and I was just holding her and just like what's going on.
But it's weird though, isn't it, because you're not taking those photos for now, are you? It's like and I know this like when one of my friends had their little girl, they're not photographers in the slightest, so I bought them the Instax Mini and enough film for them to take a Polaroid a week of their baby for the first year of their life, and they found that when they were in it was like, okay, in the end, it almost felt like a little bit of a chore once you got to like week 30 and 40 weeks. Yeah. But there was only 1 week they missed because she refused to cooperate. So they always sat her in a chair. And then that week there was just a picture of the empty chair. And now that like their baby is like 7, she loves looking at the book. And even for them to see the growth from week 1 to week 52, like, is that you're not taking those for now, are you? It's like in years to come, you look back and go, oh, there's my dad, or there's how tiny she was. Yeah. Like it's But I think that deserves kind of, although you're a phone to a Fuji or whatever, it's not like kind of like you're sitting them down with like a plate camera, but it feels more kind of like legacy, doesn't it, to take it on like a proper camera than
yeah. And I know that it's like sort of better quality-ish, but I still do tape stuff on my phone because I'm finding the value in like live photos at the moment.
Okay.
Because obviously if you take something on your phone, you get the live photo, and having like that little bit of movement in the live photo is really nice as well, and I feel like it's something I'm also going to appreciate. It's like, oh, here's the photo of her like just like laying down, like looking at the camera or whatever, because I've been rattling something above her.
And you guys see that little bit of work that it took to get it.
You see the live photo of her like rolling or about to cry or something, and it's like, this is the reality of it, and that's quite kind of nice to have as well. So I'm trying to use my phone for that. The camcorder, not so much. Again, I don't really know. There's not much to film. It's just not.
But again, but those, we'll talk about definitely the camcorder more in the trends episode. But it primarily was bought as a work purchase, wasn't it? So although it would make really cool footage and stuff, it's kind of, I still see that quite often, quite a clear line between the stuff that I have and something like that. If I pick this up, it feels like work. Or if I pick this up, it doesn't feel like work. Like that's for me. That's
the thing. I've used it so much for work now that maybe I've sort of
compartmentalized
that. But also when I've bought the camcorder, again, I don't mean to sound, but like there's not a lot I can film at the moment.
Because she's not moving.
The best obviously memories of my childhood with the camcorder and that are filmed like at Christmas when I'm walking around opening presents and stuff like that. So maybe I'm a bit premature with that.
I think definitely. It's not going anywhere, and neither she. So as she, and again, when she starts to walk and run and those things, I think trying to chase with the camcorder then.
I'm just impressed it's last a full wedding season. This camcorder, given what I do with it,
especially when you give it to guests as well. The fact that it hasn't, and it's old, that you've managed to survive.
It gets passed around, and
normally with people that are drunk and on dance floors and stuff as well. Like it's done well. It's done well. Though you have found to buy some tech, haven't you? Although there's not been new camcorders or cameras for baby, you have managed to justify a work purchase in there somewhere.
I don't know. It was something I've been saving for a while, but also something happened in the hospital, and I was like, I must have been just very tired scrolling through, and I was like, I'm just going to buy this thing before I have a baby. She came in and was like, you're going to have a baby. I was like, I need to buy my last bit of tech. I bought these glasses called X-Real 1 Pros.
I've tried them on, So when I was at the festival in the summer, and one of the guys in our media crew had some, and I found it the most disorientating thing in my life, because the guy that had them had managed to plug them into his Sony camera. So basically, he could move the camera on the gimbal, and I could move my head. But as I moved my head, the screen didn't move because I could see the screen. But as he moved, I could leave my head still and then move the camera. Then my head moved, and the whole thing made me feel really motion sick. But I think that was because the double movement. Like if you were looking at like a fixed screen in it, it'd be genius. But the fact that I was looking at the live view from a camera on a gimbal
and
made me feel like I was on a roller coaster. Really bizarre. But as a piece of tech, phenomenal.
It's so cool. I can't I bought it for a few reasons. Like the first one, I'm a gadget person anyway. I love that kind of stuff, right? But I kind of thought that if with baby on the way and stuff like that, there's going to be times where I'm working more remotely, and I'm quite snobby with my work, and I need like a big screen to work on. I hate editing from a laptop.
So anybody that doesn't know what they are, essentially they look like a pair of sunglasses, don't they?
They should have gone into that first.
Inside the sunglasses, they have like these two little screens, don't they? So when you put them on, they feel like you're basically sat in front of a cinema screen, don't they? Like you can kind of look, and it looks like you have a huge screen in front of you. But obviously, then there's a wire coming out the back of the arm, right? Which then you can then plug into your phone, your Mac, your iPad, your camera, whatever. And so the idea that you could literally be laid in bed staring at the ceiling, but you would be staring at a big screen. Or you could be, like, say, anywhere, not where you need a physical big screen, but you still have one in a pair of glasses.
It's so good. Even the speakers that like blast into your ears are actually really good. They're Bose speakers.
Okay.
So even them I've been using as well with it, rather than putting AirPods in or whatever. And you can use them with AirPods, which is great. But like you say, so you put them on, plug them into pretty much whatever, and it projects that as a cinema screen in front of you, and you can change sort of the distance of the screen. You can also, with these new ones, you can lock the screen in a particular place.
Okay.
So if it starts off, if you move your head, the screen will follow you, but you can also lock it onto like a wall or something, so that if you turn away, you can't see it. And it has electrochromatic dimming as well, so that you can set it so that you can see through the glasses to what's around you, or you can press a button and it'll go all black and like just black out.
So essentially, if you were sat in the corner of a coffee shop, you could literally put them on, and you could then frost out the noise of people walking past you and sat on other tables, and it would literally just feel like you're sat in a very small space staring at a very big screen.
Yeah, exactly.
But without the kind of don't know what's the right word to use, the kind of obviousness of having like a giant like
VR headset,
they're like ski goggle style headset on. Yeah,
they are still relatively obvious, but I think in an environment where you're supposed to, like, if I do get a co-working space, I think it's perfectly suitable to have them there. But yeah, connect them up to my laptop, get a big second screen for working, and that's gonna be great for either working on the sofa while I'm just like looking after baby if she's asleep, or working from a co-working environment. But also, I just love like for content, they're incredible. Like my iPad is now a glorified white noise machine. When baby's asleep, so my iPad generally stays next to the baby's basket at the moment. So I've been using this to watch Netflix, YouTube, that kind of thing, and loving it because it's literally just like I'll lay down and I'll just watch the ceiling.
I mean, the very first time that I saw them was on Russell Kent Nichols' stories. And he spoke about them using them for travel. Like the idea of trying to watch a tiny screen in the back of someone's the back of the seat in front of you on an aeroplane isn't kind of really good for posture or whatever. Or the fact that you could kind of lay back and just stare up at the ceiling with like your neck pillow on and almost feel like you've got a cinema experience. That's really cool, isn't it? Like,
I've got 6 flights next year, so already.
Like to be in a really confined space, but still feel. Or again, like if you're traveling, if you're like, you know what, I need to bang a teaser out, and you can't take your monitors with you, to literally sit at a desk at the end of your bed in your hotel room, and feel like you've got your big monitor with you. That's it motivates me because again, I hate edit on the laptop. So generally, if I'm out and about or I'm staying at a premiere and I've got spare time, I won't get my laptop out and edit. I'll transfer footage or I'll do some emails and whatever. But it's just a mental block at the moment, and I'm going to have to get used to it. Don't get me wrong, but this will definitely help with it. And it's a really cool piece of tech. It is ridiculously overpriced. I probably wouldn't recommend it to most people. But I've used it a lot already. Well, I think it's early days though, isn't it? People like they're the first of their kind at the moment. It's like obviously when you got the Metas a year on, we're now on, the Oakley ones have come out as well as the Ray-Bans. There's a version 2 coming out now, and I think if it's tech that takes off, obviously there will be, the price will reduce or the things that you can do with them will grow, won't it? But if it's a price point which you think you can see the value in for what it is at the moment, then it's worth giving it a go, isn't it? And also if it satisfies that kind of tech curiosity in you, and there is a justifiable reason for buying it.
It's one of those things that people obviously, we've had a revolving door of visitors recently, and like Kate, when I first showed Kate them, her jaw literally dropped to the floor. I've not seen her react to something like that in a very, very long time. And she was like, this is incredible. And now people come around, like we put the glasses on them and show them like a trailer for a film or something, and they're like, this is insane.
That's what blew me away.
You can't quite explain it. It sounds like, you put glasses on and you see a screen, what do you do? But like generally, the experience is good.
I think that's what really blew me away. So I came back from when I was at the festival, walked back into the press tent, and there's like 3 guys in the corner looking at them. I was like, and because I saw the head, like say these kind of like small glasses, them with the wires, like, I know exactly what they are. I was like, just really interesting. Like, can I give them a go? And I found that to be in like a noisy tent, essentially looking like a white marquee in the corner, but feel like I was literally staring at a big screen, and it was really clear as well. That kind of really blew me away as to kind of the potential, even in like that very first model. The scope of where it could go even more than that.
Well, there are a few models in now, X-Real, so it started off as like something that probably wasn't as good. I think the X-Real Pro is like the latest and greatest one. I think it's probably the first one that you can lock the screen off in space as well. So
that would really help, I think, especially with like even like the vertigo aspect of you moving and kind of feeling this giant screen moving with you. Like that would be really bizarre.
I only wish I had it for my destination wedding that I had like a week before. I probably should have bought it before.
I think we should talk about that as well now. We're kind of getting into kind of the weddings that you did, aren't we? Because that was the destination you went before, and this time you went to Spain. Is that right?
Yeah. So obviously, like for me, I only do 1 or 2 destination weddings a year, so it's quite a big deal for me. So I was away for 4 days. The wedding was on the Saturday. We went on the Friday and come back on the Monday. Again, because of everything that's happened this year, Kate being pregnant, she was not able to do it with me.
Because originally that was the plan, wasn't it? It was booked before you found out that you were having a baby,
exactly,
right? So she was originally going to be the second shooter, and
our plans of getting a 5-star hotel and just hanging out in Spain didn't go too well and end up being an Airbnb with Adam Wing. But Adam, I'm so grateful to him. He stepped in a week before his wedding to come to Spain with me for 4 days and film a wedding and hang out. And it was great. And we had this Airbnb together. It was a lush place. Like, it was proper nice. Like Adam walked in, he was like, I don't get these places when I film for myself. So, it was a really nice sort of marina that we stayed at in Sotogrande in Spain, which is kind of near, like an hour away from Gibraltar sort of area. It was a proper nice marina, quite a posh place. and the wedding was only up the road. It's kind of like a golf area. There's
Okay.
a lot of golf in this area, so I'm imagining it's quite an affluent area as well.
Yeah.
Of Spain.
It's not something you've been before.
No, I've not been there before.
Yeah.
I think it's like quite close to Malaga and that kind of place. Like it was an hour's drive from Malaga.
Okay.
Just over an hour's drive from Malaga south. So quite a lot of golf, quite a lot of English people. A lot of people in the bars were all English, and a lot of people at the wedding, like suppliers from the wedding, were English but also lived in Spain.
Okay.
So there was a lot of that.
But it was an English couple though, right?
It was an English couple. Yeah, they lived in London. So essentially the wedding was at one of these private clubs, like private golf club members golf clubs, and the place was insane. Like,
okay, that's really so. It wasn't obviously a lot of people go to, you kind of see them going back to like wedding venues or them sourcing a wedding venue, which kind of, then you go abroad and you're sold this kind of dream. So as a rule, it's not typically a wedding venue.
No, but the story behind it is, so the bride's dad was one of the first members
at
this club. And now has a house basically on the club. In this, like, there's a tiny little estate on the club of villas, bigger houses. And the bride's dad owns one of them, so he managed to convince the owners of this club, because he's been a member for so long, to let his daughter get married there and have a one-off wedding there.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And given
that
it was a one-off wedding there, it went incredibly smoothly and really well. I sometimes worry about those venues that don't do weddings, that it's just going to be a bit of a piece together kind of job.
I don't know, I guess on the other side of it though, I think sometimes I'd prefer that, because we've all been to venues where they do so many weddings where it's not special to them anymore at all. It's very much like, this runs the way that we want it to run, and we'll bash out exactly the same looking wedding tomorrow. Where maybe to have somewhere where it has a very high standard of kind of hospitality anyway, because it's an exclusive members club, to go, well, we need to service this because he's one of our, to a high level. I think hopefully, or you would always hope that they put in that extra effort, because it's not something they do day in, day out, that maybe that level would be there more than if you went to a wedding factory in the UK.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like a couple of the weddings I've done that abroad have been venues. Like the one I filmed in Portugal, that was a venue that hadn't done a wedding before, and that was the most incredible service I've ever seen at a wedding. I had probably more staff there than guests, because they were so buzzing to do a wedding there. But it went really smoothly. Obviously, like, shooting with Adam was a lot of fun, and he's someone whose obviously work I've only seen from afar or doing BTS, and up until a couple of years ago I'd only ever seen him through that, and obviously over the last couple of years there's been more of networking, and we've met a few times, and now I feel like I know him and he's a good friend.
Yeah, especially if you're going to spend 4 days together. That's even I met Adam for the first time at the summit back in April this year, and then we had him on the pod, and that was a really good episode. So but kind of brief meetings like that, then essentially moving in with someone for 4 days, is quite different, isn't it?
Yeah, you kind of think, obviously we're going to drive there together and then be basically together the whole time for 4 days. Hopefully we get on in that capacity. But it was really fun, and he blended right in with my style and with the wedding and the couple and everything, and it went really smoothly. So it's always nice when you're working with someone new, for it to go that well, especially when it's abroad, and obviously you've got a lot of, like, the expectation I set for myself when I'm filming a wedding abroad is, this is the only one I'm doing this year, so it's better be good, because it's going to be the one that's going on the.
And I also felt like for him to fly back and literally days later then have his own wedding as well, to kind of to be willing to go out and do that. I don't know, maybe for him it was like a little holiday before the wedding, but.
Yeah, he was like, it seemed like a good idea when I said yes, but now it's close to the wedding. I'm a bit like, should I have already gone? But,
I must say though, like, his day, I saw the video that the Lawsons shared, obviously, that his teaser the day after his wedding. And from someone, again, that's only met him a couple of times, it looked like a phenomenal day. Like, I wrote I must admit, I don't watch a lot of wedding films. I kind of start them and go, it's not really like. Yeah. But when it popped up, and I was like, this is Adam, I watched it. And like, the Lawsons are great anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I think they're definitely top tier. And I think they were the perfect fit for to make that film as well. But even again, I knew Adam from the photo from it, and that was about it really.
Yeah.
But like, there was, in that teaser alone, it was just, you could just feel the joy kind of seeping out of it. Yeah. And even if you could show it to anyone and not known there was a bunch of other wedding suppliers there, or like that Howard dancing around is his uncle as well as the singer and stuff. But it just looked like an incredible day.
Yeah. And if you showed that to anyone as well, because I think it was during a storm, right? So I think it was raining the whole time. Show that to anyone who's like, I don't want rain on my wedding day. Yeah. Like, they clearly had the best day. Yeah. And it rained on their day, and like, they enjoyed it. And I could tell, like, from chatting to him about their plans and that they like they'd thought a lot about all of the intricate details, and they obviously had a wedding planner, and it just But
also as well, if you're a filmmaker and you fear the rain, like you kind of go, oh, my style is built on bright sunshine and this and that, and we're never going to make something as amazing as I could have done if the weather was better. Go and find the trailer that Lawson's made from their day, and it's a fine example of how the people, but also the skill of the storytelling or whatever, shines through and still made that.
Me happy. It made me feel like a proud friend. I was
that's it. I came from a guy that I'd met twice, and like one of them was on a screen in front of us here while we were chatting. Like you could just see kind of there. It was that perfect balance of like just sheer happiness, joy, laughter. There's tender moments in that trailer alone. It's like 3 minutes long, but all of it was just very much like, oh, that's a wedding that I just wanted to be at, and not even to work. Like just a wedding that I would love to have. Like it looks like a wedding you wanted to be at.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree. But absolutely lovely to work with him. And thanks, Adam, for stepping in as well, and covering for Kate there. So the wedding was a 2-day event. Saturday was the main wedding day, and then Sunday was a pool party.
Nice.
Which I was absolutely buzzing for, and ended up being actually relatively disappointed about.
Oh, really?
Because I sort of added a little bit in my packages that said, if you want the night before, the sort of, what do they call it? The pre-wedding,
it's fairly common, isn't it, with destination wedding that they kind of everyone flies in that you have kind of this like welcome dinner, don't you, on the night before, or like a play or a post pool party is very much.
But it ended up being that no one actually went in the pool, and it was just a party.
Oh, really?
So it was literally just a party from the night before.
Which is odd, isn't it? Because you'd say like, oh, you're in Spain, it's hot.
Yeah.
Like you would want to cool off after, like you're in beachwear rather than being in like a stuffy suit from the wedding the day before.
Yeah.
That you think that it would be like, I just imagine like kind of inflatable unicorns and people jumping in a pool and like splashing Aperol everywhere. That's kind of how it would.
Yeah, so that's what they kind of made it out to be. And in all fairness, like the weather wasn't great on that day. It did actually rain a few times on that second day. The actual wedding day was sunny and hot and that kind of thing, what you expect from Spain. But the next day it rained. I think it might have been their first rainfall since like
that's crazy, isn't it?
Something like that. Because I remember the photographers being like, I was like, this is so hot, and the photographers were like, this is nothing. It's September. It's the end of September, and like, this is, and I was like, but I'm very hot. So the pool party, I was looking forward to all of like the inflatables and that kind of thing.
That's your vibe though, isn't it? Like like that very much like kind of like dialed in fun of people like throwing people in swimming pools and like that stuff.
But as soon as people turned up, and I kind of knew what the vibe was going to be, and all of like they're obviously very well off as a couple, let's put it that way, and their friends and family are as well, and what am I trying to say here? They also, all the lads are kind of DJs, and they obviously like their dance, so
it was more focused on the music. And I guess as well, if you've kind of gone at it at a wedding the night before, you to kind of get up and go straight back on it the next day.
They literally
really
did,
I was
next morning straight back on it. Like they were all like, the drinks are flowing. It was obvious. I think it was like unlimited because there was no like payment there or anything. And then the next morning, it was 3 p.m. actually, the pool party started. They're getting straight back on it. And again, like most of the drinks were free. You got a wristband, and you could have as many drinks as you want.
Wow.
And I didn't get a wristband, but someone offered me a drink, so I had like a gin and tonic. Well, obviously I was driving back to the Airbnb, so I'll just have one. So I asked for a gin and tonic, and he literally just poured
3 pours.
3 quarters gin, and I got it back, and I started drinking it. I was like, this is really strong. And by the end of it, I was like, I think we're gonna might have to stay later than what I thought, because I'm gonna need to drive.
Or take a wander by the swimming pool and top it out with some gin.
Again, like I think it was very much for them. It was more the party than the pool that they were interested in, and that was fine. We had a great time with them. Like, I honestly got on with them really, really well. And they were definitely party people. They didn't disappoint in
so kind of side note, and again, this is someone who's not a filmmaker, just out of pure curiosity. How do you deliver that? Will that be part of the highlights film? Will that be like when you deliver like the overall highlights film from the wedding? Do you class the wedding as like the whole thing, not just the day? That won't be like a separate little video just for the party?
Yeah, so I haven't done something like this before, so I asked them, and I said, look, like I've seen it done many different ways. Do you want some of the pool party put in amongst the wedding stuff? Or do you want it chronological? And they said, we've always imagined that it would be the dancing on the wedding day, then the crescendo would finish, and we'd start again.
Okay.
The film would like come down a little bit and transition into the next day.
So you feel there is there's a shift from it being a different day.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember the exact shot, but I'm pretty sure Adam filmed a shot on that pool party day and was like, this is the shot you need to do to introduce it, because this is the perfect sort of introduction from this party to this party. I can't remember what it was now, but it's like things like that you need to think about transitioning between the 2 days. And yeah, there's that kind of thing of like, I normally finish the wedding film with like people dancing, and then it sort of like and ends there sort of thing on the wedding day, but now I've got to add a new element to my films. I'm looking forward to that, but it is a bit different.
Do you think it will change though, even after doing that? Because it's something that I've kind of started to think about, last year and have tried to implement this year, because I've always really hated when I've called a wedding that you're like dancing, oh, that's the end.
Yeah.
And so at the start of this year, I've always tried to go, well, how can I finish it better? Like, again, in that idea of like storytelling, like if you've got a cool venue, is it like a night shot of like the marquee with the lights coming out? Or is it like something kind of, is there another way that you can kind of get that sense that you are kind of withdrawing away from a party that's carrying on? Or if that's the end of the night, is it the final hugs or...
Yeah, the drone shots, I think.
Whatever. And I think that works really well, doesn't it, with film maybe? But I think, maybe that's just something that kind of occurred to me as going on, or something which I've tried to really work on this year, is that it's so easy to kind of get caught up in the dancing and then go, oh, it's time for me to go now. Oh, the dancing's finished.
Yeah.
And then the kind of that you do this really good job of setting the scene in the morning of the wedding in the gallery.
Yeah.
And it literally just
get to a point where there's a hard cut off. Yeah. I do agree with that, and I think that as much as I enjoyed the party and at the pool party and hanging out and things like that and having a drink with Adam and things on the day, I think that the wedding film probably would have benefited from not having that.
Okay.
Because it's like, you have all of this story of like the venue and the ceremony and the speeches and like the progression of a wedding day, and then it gets to the party, and then you cut back to candids of people hungover, like hugging each other and that kind of thing, and then you have a semi-party after that because a lot of people sat down because everyone was just like really hungover and just having a drink even when we left.
And I guess it's just a party, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I feel like this in the odd times, like earlier on in my career when I was kind of just taking more kind of any job to kind of pay bills and stuff, is that I ended up doing my share of like 60th birthday parties and go come and do a christening or whatever. And I always found that, I think there was essentially you're doing the same job, do you know what I mean, just documenting an event.
Yeah.
But there's just the story's not there, or the kind of like there's no bite to it. Do you know what I mean? There's no sense of kind of like it's just a party. And you're there for someone's birthday. It doesn't hit the same as a wedding, does it? Where a wedding has like say that clear audio in vows or speeches, and even as a photographer, there's that kind of clear sense of journey where it's very much like you turn up, someone might say a few words and cut a cake in the middle, but then it's just a party for not much.
People just hanging around and chatting.
I think that's been the real difference for me. Where people go, well, you're a good wedding photographer. You could easily do this, and it's like. But I think the interest for me is not there because there's no narrative. That's what I've always struggled with, kind of just the party photography, and even sometimes just event photography in general. Like I'll go and cover a corporate party. It's like, well, no, because you're a glorified nightclub photographer. Do you know what I mean? Really?
Yeah.
Like,
and it doesn't feel like there's soul to it, does it?
Yeah.
It's just like,
it just lacks a little bit of purpose for me, I guess. So that's the real kind of tear with weddings, I think. And I guess that's the same, isn't it? Like, even a welcome dinner the night before kind of feels different, I think, because there's like this sense of anticipation, isn't there, as to what's coming tomorrow, rather than, we're so good and I'm still struggling, but we party on. Like, that's kind of what the post thing is, isn't it? Yeah, definitely.
The second wind, which is never as good as the first wind, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was still good. Really interesting to see how Adam shoots as well.
Is it?
Because obviously we shoot in very different ways.
Yeah.
I was like, go wild with your 55mm because that's the person he is. But interesting that he manual focuses, which is something that I wouldn't be able to do. There was a part of the day of the pool party where one of the bridesmaids did these 2 cartwheels and a backflip. And it's like her party trick. She does it every wedding and every like family event. And Adam was like, she was doing them towards Adam. So he managed to focus the whole time while she was doing these backflips
towards
him. That's
insane.
And I would not even know where to start with that full focus. And he showed me afterwards. I was like, how do you do that? But like watching his footage when he starts it recording at the bottom, like when it's at his hip and then lifts it up and then manual focuses literally perfect to the person. I'm like, you use autofocus. And he's like, no, that's manual. I just knew exactly where to turn the thing to. And like, my brain just does not compute at that.
And that's just sheer muscle memory, isn't it? I think exactly. From someone that's done those hours or knows, like say, or maybe using that one lens, because you find from different camera brand to camera brand that they focus, some focus clockwise to go nearer, some zoom the other way. But that's just like a real fine example of being solid at your craft and knowing your kit inside out, isn't
Yeah.
it? But
Just
fair
a
play. I
mastery
couldn't
of
do that.
something like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Like I found now from shooting film again, I still kind of hesitate to use manual focus on film. I'm still using an autofocus film camera at a wedding, just because of those moments where I know I want that shot.
Yeah.
You can't guarantee that it's going to be anywhere near what it needs to be.
But maybe if you used it enough and wasted enough of those rolls, you would eventually find your feet with it. But yeah, I was like, you do realise that on the A7S3 you can just tap and it'll track, and it was like, oh, that's amazing, but I quite like doing what I do.
Well, that's it. It's almost like the payoff, I guess, from the outside is not the same, but then when you dive into it, the craft is there to know that's been,
Yeah, so that's
and I guess you don't get those odd bits where it can't find. You don't get that odd hunt because you're manually it still feels like cinematically kind of gradient in and out.
Yeah.
Even if you couldn't find it straight away. Because I find that the only thing really jarring sometimes with odd film where it kind of just like blips, doesn't it? Like it twitches to kind of find focus, which then feels really unnatural.
Yeah, sometimes in different lighting conditions, or when there's a bright light behind the person, that's always quite difficult. So speeches, when there's like a big light behind the speaker, sometimes it will just back and forth between them. With autofocus, but I don't trust myself to manual, so I'll auto it and then click the manual button to keep it. But yeah, so after that, obviously all singing, all dancing, wedding with all the money gone into it. A couple of days later, we did a lovely wedding.
We did.
At a local barn together, didn't we?
We did, which again, my first time there. You'd been there before, hadn't you? But really, I think quite it's different, kind of nestled in the countryside, kind of set barn. Again, a venue that does probably quite a lot of weddings. But really lovely day.
What they wanted, and it was very much like them as a couple. And they basically said, like, I think they've been to a lot of weddings before. They're
both in the industry, so they both are musicians who play in wedding bands. So they had to try and find a venue they hadn't played at, which kind of worked for all the other things. So it didn't feel like going to work for them.
Yeah.
And I think again, maybe some of the more traditional elements that some people would kind of maybe thrive into for a wedding, they were like, we've kind of done this, like we don't need it. But it's ended up being a really personal day, didn't it? A really beautiful day. The weather was really nice. For the 1st of October as well, we got a lush sunset, even though it came literally bang after speeches. It was like, we need to go. But and also like, what a lovely couple. Like Tom and Katie really were,
Yeah, and it was nice to have a day like that where they just said, all of the bells and whistles, leave it out. We're just having a wedding. We want our friends and family there to have a wedding. And to be able to take, obviously I was solo on that day, to be able to take that time and be like, I'm just going to breathe and take some candid shots and just enjoy that. Whereas a lot of the weddings that I've done this year, if I'd have shot solo, I'd have been stressing out that I wasn't capturing this, that, and the other. Like, they were having a wedding, and the soul of the wedding was them, and not any of the little extras that you can add on. Basically,
but it's hard, isn't it? Because in terms of like safe, okay, this is probably the right word. If you have like a jam-packed itinerary and there's always things happening, you know there's stuff to capture. You know there's stuff to fill a gallery. But when you as a couple put your sole reliance in, and like the people that I know are fun enough, it will be okay. For sometimes as a supplier, it can be really daunting to go, because if they're not fun, they've just told me they're fun, and when I get there they're not. What am I going to take photos of? It's really hard. But I think maybe because they'd seen the mechanics of a wedding kind of from working on that side of it or whatever, it really played off, doesn't it? And then obviously like we found out like they were having a conversation in the morning, weren't they, about Disney as well? And then it turned out that they were going back to Disney World. They're regular Florida visitors like me, and they come back and they were actually out there when I was out there. So their honeymoon and my holiday overlapped, and we tried to make it work a couple of times where I would meet up with them in Disney Springs for a drink. But I think because they were kind of at the tail end of their holiday and I was at the beginning of mine, and because I was with family as well, it didn't manage to work out, and I didn't manage to catch up with them.
So many parts
like on the preface, it was like, we can definitely find some time to do this, and sadly it didn't happen. But it was kind of quite fun that 2 days before I flew out, I got a message from Tom, the groom, on my DMs, and he was at the hotel that I was staying at, and he'd gone and got the big fluffy Mickey shaped beignets and was like, "You on firm countdown now, mate?" And I was like, yes. I'm going to be there literally 48 hours. I'll be sat where you are sat. I'm so ready. And so it was really nice that kind of we had that little bit of dialogue after the wedding as well, and kind of. Like for you as well, like wanting to be like, oh, you're going to Disney. There was that kind of shared interest, wasn't there? And like when we were out on the couple shoot, like you were able to kind of go into him, like, oh, so where are you going? What are you saying? What are you looking forward to seeing? And kind of, it really felt like we were really kind of vibing all together. Like,
for every bit that we've not shot a wedding, that was the only wedding we've shot together this year. And there's a conversation of, okay, do our couples overlap? If anyone was going to overlap, it's someone who went to Disney World for their honeymoon.
They were the perfect blend, weren't they?
Exactly.
And again, like I say, we shot like 3-4 weddings together the last year. year, and kind of it's really nice to kind of see that growth in both of us, or kind of always have these like touching points in the pod to come back to with those weddings. Where it was a shame that we only ended up doing the one this year, but I'm still glad that we got a wedding in together. And again, I think the process, the fact that you were solo, I did my thing and even again, it was probably a good few months after we'd shot a wedding together. Although we do this and kind of find our groove together, I feel like we settled straight back into that. Yeah. And off we went, and it was kind of like we both kind of knew what each other wanted out of it.
Sounds obvious, but it is so easy with us two, isn't it? Like we literally just like found the groove straight away.
And I think it is really kind of interesting because I shot a wedding 2 days before, the day before I went on holiday. And I worked with a videographer then I'd never worked with before, a guy called Nathan, really lovely dude. But he's the first videographer that I've worked with this year at weddings that isn't you or Josh.
Yeah.
So I've done 2 weddings with Josh on video. I did one with you, one with him, and they're the only videographers I've worked with all year.
Wow, yeah.
So it is kind of odd to kind of then have to work with someone who I don't know. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Where I know kind of your dance, the way you do things. Again, after doing weddings with Josh and him being a good friend of ours, I kind of know the way that he moves on a wedding day, the things that he looks for. Yeah. To then have to kind of ask that question and be like, what do you need? How do you do it? Or what do you want to do in the couple shoot? Or how do you play the aisle? Do you want to do a pan? Like, do you want to fit? And like having to almost have that level of thought then, rather than just going, okay, here we go. Was kind of odd, but I enjoyed it at the same time. I think because it's almost to work with someone else again and maybe again find out other ways into things.
Yeah, because me and Josh probably work in a very similar way. So if you work with other people who do it differently, then it's like
and I think like you said, when I've had weddings as well, where the schedule has been stacked. Yeah, you kind of just need to go. Okay, we're going, deep breath, and off you go. I don't almost have to worry about considering, because I know where you'll be or what you want out of it, so I know I'm not going to get in your way. But with that, it was a little bit, was like, oh, if I do start to creep in, just nudge me out, and almost it gave me that other level of thought. But really cool to do a wedding with you, and I think the perfect day that we had.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was a really good one to do, wasn't it?
That was still the last wedding I've done, I think. So
was it? So I did the one. I did one, 2 after that. October was a really busy month for me. Like you were saying, struggling to find a second shooter for your wedding. I think after May, October was my next busiest month.
Really?
I had 5 weddings in October. Wow. Considering that I went away on the 19th as well, or the 20th for holiday. Yeah. It was pretty heavy.
The build up to the holiday was quite a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And you got your previews done before that, I guess, haven't you, as well? So.
Yeah, I had it again. And I did that. So I got home from that wedding on the Saturday night. And again, it's only like just over an hour away, but it's still one of the longer drives that I've had this year for weddings, because most of my weddings are quite local. So to then have to like get in and then double back up and preview so that I could like shut my computer down, like properly shut it down, like pack everything away to be like, no, I'm going on holiday tomorrow. So I can't just leave my bag open in the middle of my in the middle of my office floor with stuff on charge. Yeah. It's like this needs to be like properly packed. Away, It meant I got into bed in the very early hours of Sunday morning to go to the airport only like the same day, but.
It's been a crazy October then for both of us, and obviously because of that we both missed events, and I didn't want to end this pod without talking about Coda, and I'm absolutely gutted that I couldn't go to Coda this year. I've already bought my ticket for next year because I was like, I don't want to miss it.
They managed to be tickets long enough this time. Obviously last time it sold out pretty relentlessly after the event.
My eyes were peeled for that link. I was straight on it, but I was like, I don't want to miss it again. I really wanted to obviously wanted to go because of the whole experience. It was absolutely amazing last year, but in particular I wanted to see Becky's speech. I was really looking forward to that. So if anyone's got a little video of that from like back of the aisle or something, so I don't have to pay for the Coda membership, please send it to me. No, but I'm glad I missed out on it, but I have bought a ticket for next year.
Amazing. It doesn't fall over baby's first birthday. No. You're not on a journey to Birmingham. Birthday trip.
It was on due date this year. You're fine. So I probably could have gone realistically. But I got rid of my ticket a long time ago. Glad I missed out on it, but it looks like it was a really good event again. Looking forward to next year's one. So.
And again, same, I missed Thrive. So obviously last year was the first year that Lisa decided to run Photography Farm, the conference, twice a year with like a different lineup. And so obviously I went to the March one, but then when the October one got announced in March, it was already a day that I was booked to be on holiday. And then the lineup came out, and selfishly, I think there was a couple of speakers on that lineup. It's like, I've been going to this event for like years, like nearly as long as I've been full time. I've been going, and again, I've always enjoyed the lineups, but there was a particular speaker, Tracy Jade, who's a New York-based documentary photographer, who she managed to get kind of by public demand as well. Like at the end of a conference, Lisa Lowe was like, "Who do you want to see?" And it was a name that kept coming up, and she finally managed to get her. And the one conference that I couldn't go to, and I've spoken to people that were there since. And they were like, it was good. It was every bit of it that you that you hoped it would be. So kind of the FOMO was real. Despite that I was in a theme park on holiday, living my actual best life in Disney, there was still a part of me that when I was in ride lines that was checking my stories, being like, oh, is there going to be a snippet of like a slide that's gone up, or I want to see like someone on her shoot session or whatever, and that stuff kind of coming out and being like, oh, like I do really wish that like I could have just been there and then come away. And it is, isn't it? I think hopefully
that's a passion for your job, isn't it? And like,
yes, and that's what I say. Same with
you're
you.
on holiday in a place you absolutely love, but you're missing elements of your job. So,
and the same for you, though, because it's a perfectly valid reason. I think then people would have questioned more if you had have gone, like potentially been over the due date of the birth of your baby. But it shows that it's not just the genuine passion for supporting our peers that are speaking, seeing people that I only get to see. Probably you see at Coda, or I see when I go to those events. It really kind of fills your work cup in that way, doesn't it? And I definitely kind of had the FOMO and was like, I just wish I was there. Yeah. And again, say credit to Rue, like with Coda as well. Second year, smashed it, sold out the third year.
Already,
and again, it's the success of that. I think is testament to the work that he's put in, and obviously again the membership and all the other stuff which is coming off of the back of it as well. It's a really, I think we did an episode, was it this year or last year, about is now the best time to be a videographer. And I think there's probably another episode to be had at the moment where arguably it's maybe the worst time to be a videographer with the content stuff and the rest of it. There is something like that, but I think it's things like that and the community around it that show that it's despite the other challenges that you're going to always continue to face in business,
in terms of job satisfaction, probably is the best time, because you're part of a community. And like I said, like I probably wouldn't have, if it weren't for Real, might not have found someone on that day to cover the wedding for me,
and someone at that level as well to go and do a big wedding for you, an important wedding for you, to know that it's going to be covered and you're not panicking going, what are they going to bring back to me?
And that's come around through the community, through Coda, through Twitter, all those kind of networking things that have allowed me to be able to message Rue and be like, can you do this, or can you find someone to do this, and or other people it will be in the future. And just it's nice to have all those connections. And again, Tessa as well, who I think I met her for the first time at Coda as well. So
and then she came to our first workshop, didn't she?
That was the first time,
so she came to the very first round of our branding marketing workshop, and it's been really nice. Like, again, obviously we follow everyone that came to the workshop, and I kind of, when I check in on our Capture Co accounts, stuff pops up, and her growth over this year, I think it's been really, really lovely to see.
And you're going to road trip with Dave, aren't you? Who also came?
I am, as well. So obviously I've signed up to go to a retreat in March next year, and they shared something about it the other day. And then Dave, who came to our November version of the workshop last year, turns out he's going as well, and it's in the Peak District, which is a very long way away from the South Coast. So I think we're going to try and road trip up together, which is also really cool. So
nice.
Like kind of in community in general, I think it's been a whirlwind month for both of us, for a variety of reasons. And I'm impressed.
I've managed to keep the catch up quite short. Considering how crazy it's been,
an hour, just over an hour. I was impressed. I thought this could have gone into kind of epic territory. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully it's explained some of the reasons to why there's been maybe a longer gap than we planned there to be. And just again, thanks for coming back after the gap. You haven't found another podcast to replace us with.
Hopefully we're still doing all right.
Appreciate the support and the love and the rest of it.
It's good to be back. I'm enjoying it.
Yes, and stay tuned, I guess, for 2 weeks' time when we do that episode on trends. I think that we're going to record it this afternoon after our meal deal. And I've really enjoyed doing the notes for that and kind of thinking about the things that have maybe the seeds that have been planted this year and the things that I think are going to continue to grow into next year. Maybe new things that are going to pop up, maybe a heads up on new challenges I think we're going to face. I think that's going to be a really good episode. So stay tuned for that episode in 2 weeks. But up until now, thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you in the next one. We haven't lost it. See, we're good. We're all right.
Good.